Well, hey folks, Fat Guy Flies RC coming to you from the Man Cave Studios. Well, I said I had no interest in getting the GB, and I wasn't going to get the GB, but by golly, just kept watching Adam on Model AV8R fly his, and I watched Brian Phillips fly his, and I watched several other people in the videos buy it fly, and I'm like, oh, darn it. And rarely do I actually, I mean, I'll watch the product page video, but I mainly watch other actual flyers, pilots do it, and I'm like, okay, yeah. Well, I had 130 or some odd dollars worth of full throttle points, cashed them in, and thing ended up cost me like 200 bucks even, so for the buying and fly. So I'm like, well, got the batteries for it, got the space to fly it, just hope I have the expertise to fly it. All right, let's get her out of the box and see if we can't put this bad boy together. Let me get it out of the box. We'll go over the parts, and I'll show you. We'll change our camera view here in just a second. And I'll show you everything from a downward view like I've been doing lately. Okay. That might be the wrong way to open this. Nope, that's the right way. Okay. I mean, look at this thing online, look at the pictures. I'm thinking, I know I shouldn't, really, it's not very manly to call an airplane cute. But it's cute. I'm sorry, but it's kind of cute. I know it was a death trap back in the day and kill pilots because it's notoriously hard to land and stuff, but they're just like too fast for its own good. But I will tell you, it's still cute. All right, let's change our camera view and look down and let's discover all the parts, me and you, for the first time. All right, you can see all the parts we got out here. One thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with the tail assembly. Okay? Now, one thing I suggest doing is go ahead and pushing everything back, whether the furthest extended out. Okay? Okay? Incredibly small little guy. Okay, first thing you're going to do is going to slide your, hold on. Remember I always say search every part of that foam coffin. Well, I didn't search and find the elevator, so we'll be right back. All right, now that I realized I didn't fish out my elevator and rudder out of the foam coffin, now we can proceed. Now, Brian Phillips made the same mistake with the elevator, but I made the mistake with the elevator and the rudder. Okay, let's proceed on. Now, like I said, push out your control surfaces all the way on your servo and rudder. Okay, slide this in here like this. And see that clevis right there? We're going to open that up. Okay, I'm going to put it on the, what does the instructions say as far as what hole to put it in? Instructions say the furthest one out, so the top one there. So slide that in there like that. Okay. Make sure you're careful with that little nipple, that little piece there that slides in there. Mine's not wanting to go through. Let me get a little drill. Let me show you what I do to fix that. Should go right through, but sometimes a little bit of plastic's in the way. So let me show you how you fix that. It's not hard at all, but you'll need a little pin drill. These are like $7 or $8 on Amazon. Absolute fabulous little tool. Okay, just for like reaming things out a little bit. Just get your little drill bit. Okay, hook it in the drill. Like that. And then I find this hole here. Well, need a bigger drill bit. Bigger diameter drill bit. we'll go with that one there. Shouldn't have to do this, but sometimes you have to. That way I know for sure that that will line up now. Yeah, see that went through there, snapped right into place. Now pull that, now this is kind of fiddly because you got to pull that fuel tubing down and then pull that elevator into place here. Okay, so now you've got full deflection there. Okay. All right, now that you got that done, and that's in there, you want to go ahead, slide in this piece here, just like a glove. You're going to take, you need a 2mm hex drive and these great big long screws. Okay. What's in there tight? Right off the bat. All right. Yeah, that's not in there all the way. I didn't think so. So back out it out of there like this. Let's let it. I'm going to turn this sideways. Okay, and watch this line here disappear. See how that's starting to disappear there? Try to do it evenly too. Come on. Yeah, there's a little bit, you can tell there's a little bit of a bottoming out point there. Okay. Yeah, that's in there. All right, now, real quick, I'm going to pause and put my drill away. Okay, all right, now that you've got that in there, that's not going anywhere. You can take your elevator or your rudder, okay? It's going to, it's that little place in there, it's going to snap in there, but you got to hook up this first. Okay, so let's get it turned to where it'll snap. Pull this, okay? See that clevis there? Right there, right with the control arm. You see where that's supposed to go. Real quick on the rudder all the way out, so the furthest point out there. Okay, pick that up in there like that, down there, let that sandwich in. Careful with those little there, that's what I want. Okay, and then I want to pull that fuel tubing in around up over that. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. That fuel tubing that's right there, I want to slide that back. Oh. Dang it. And look what I did. I broke that little pin. So, let me show you how you replace that. You have to have a replacement. And I happen to have many replacements that come in these little all these little free wing models. So all I'm going to do, slide that one off, slide this one in, which is the exact same length and everything. All right, I'll replace it with a different clip. Going to put it right in there. That's snapped in. What I did is I undo the screw, the control arm from the top of the servo. Okay, so now clip that into place there. Snaps in there. There. Okay, now all I did was just undid the control arm from the top of the servo. So real quick, what I need to do is take this servo. Now that I've undid that, I don't remember where neutral was. Take your servo, get yourself a servo connector or a servo tester. Okay, center your servo again. Because usually I do this after the plane's all hooked up, but all right, let me neutral that. Make sure it's neutral. All right, it's now neutral. Plug the servo back in the correct port, which is channel 4. Okay, and anchor that servo arm back down. Okay, and then connect the. Actually, this is supposed to be on the other side. There. That looks to be about right. Okay. And all it is just unscrew the top of the servo arm from the top of the servo. Okay. All right. Now we got to anchor the rest of this puppy down. This puppy. Got to anchor the puppy down. You know? Got to anchor the puppy down. All right. You're going to take 8mm self-tappers, which are these little silver screws. Okay. Go ahead and get your little metal tray, little magnetic metal tray, and empty them in there. Okay, you're going to put one on top. Now this, you need a 1.5mm hex drive. You're going to need to put one here. Okay. But not so tight that the rotor can't move. Like that. Turn the model over. Okay, it's going to go on top right here. But like I say, not so tight that it can't turn. There's no play in it. All right, so now we got that done, we can put our wheel on. Now them same 3 remaining self-tappers we're going to use to put on this wheel. So turn the fuselage back over again. Okay, this, obvious how it's going to sit. It's anchored to the back and then rotates off the front of the fuselage. So go ahead and take one of these self-tappers. Okay, to anchor all this in place and make it easier for you. Okay, go ahead. There's the internal one, the inside hole there. Go ahead and run that on in there. And get that one anchored in first. Hold on to your rudder so you don't want to put pressure, downward pressure. Has a very obvious bottoming out point. You'll feel it, trust me. Let me get this turned sideways where I can kind of get a better feel on this. Yeah, like I say, it has a very obvious bottoming out point. And I'm sorry this video takes so long, but I've never put this plane together before. Some of these planes I get, I put them together before, and I kind of have a little heads up on how they go, but this one's completely new to me. All right, that's that. That's on there, and that's on there. Okay, clean up some of our debris. Okay, and let's turn our attention now to putting on the wing. Now, it tells you to go ahead and put, but I don't know why I can't put the wing on first. I'm going to put the wing on here. Okay, it's obvious how it sits down in there. It's only going to sit one way. Okay, you're going to take your 2mm hex drive and these four screws here. Go ahead and empty them into your little magnetic tray, and you got your 4 connection points. Helps immensely if you grab the right tool, however. That's just seems to be easier for some reason. We're looking for puckering here. Now that fits quite tight. Quite tight. Now I like to alter, when I'm putting stuff like this together, putting wings together, I like to alternate my connection points. I'm going to turn this where I can feel what it is I'm doing. Right now I'm feeling for this seam right here, my fingers moving. I'm feeling for that seam to get smaller and tighter, and it is. Yeah, that has an obvious bottoming out point. I can feel a little bit of seam there. All right. That's nice and tight. Also, that seam's kind of kicking up a little bit right there. Yep, okay. And the last point over here, up front here. I've got my finger on that same seam. Okay, now that wing's on there. That wing is on there. That ain't going anywhere. And you got a nice seamless seam right up there. Okay, let's turn our attention now to the landing gear and these wires. Now you're going to take your 2 unlabeled flying wires, these little strut wires here. Okay, you're only going to take the 2 here. Make sure we are still going at it. Okay, line up your gear. Okay, this one's going to go here. I'm going to take this wire with this hook. Okay, there should be a, if you look up in there, you'll see all these connection points right behind that wheel back up there. That's where I'm hooking to. Okay, that's where I'm hooking to. Let me make sure I go. Okay, I'm going to go to the center for the landing gear. There's two little, like several channels. Go to that center channel up in there. Okay. See how I hooked up in there? All right. All right. So I'm going to hook it here. If it can catch. All right, it catches. And then I can slide my gear in. Just like that. Now, to put the gear in, what you're going to want to do is you use the silver wires where you have white and red, or the silver screws where you have white, and the white screws where you have white, and then the red screws where you have red. Okay, 2mm hex drive. Support it from the bottom. Oh, that didn't hook up in there. Well, let me get my... Oh, that's not wanting to line up. You know what? Let's hold off. Let's do the red ones first. The red ones will help line that up. But I've got to get that wire to stay hooked up too. Okay. All right. You can't see them doing. I'm sorry. All right. I mean, this is one of those things you watch it on TV or YouTube, and it may seem confusing, but it's not. Once you get it in front of you, it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. All right, that has a very obvious bottoming out point. Okay. Now I'm very confident about this one. Keeping my finger underneath it to support it. Okay. Good to let go. Okay, the red one here. Help if you have like a really long screwdriver right now. A really long 2mm hex drive would be awesome. And by the way, these wires are necessary. They are functional. You do need them. Okay, it's what helps stiffen this wing and make it so fast and nimble. I just wish I had a longer 2mm hex drive. And they have an obvious bottoming out point. All right, I'm going to pause and repeat the process to the other side. Alrighty. Now once you have both wheels installed, okay, what you're going to want to do is grab the 4 wires that have the white little tabs on them, and the little white tabs go close to the end of the wing. Okay, now this is the This is left. This is the left. Okay, patient's left. All right, so you're going to want to grab left back front. Okay, it's going to have L's on it. Okay, left back, left bottom front, left bottom rear. So left bottom rear is going to go back here, or actually it's going to go this way. Okay, and then left bottom front is going to go this way. All right, now what you're going to want to do is you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver and undo these little pieces here. Okay, I understand it's also going to undo the top of the wing also. That's okay. Okay, so I think that's what it's going to do. Yeah. Okay. Save them screws though, because you're going to need them here in a minute. Sorry if my arm's in the way. Drop that over there. Push that out. Okay, I'm going to need to get a knife just to get my edge of my knife under there. See, not everything, when you're putting these together, not everything's going to go as smoothly as it does. All right, this is the front, this is the rear. It's even labeled, so make sure you keep up with that. Okay, and I can kind of push this one out, hopefully, maybe. Okay. All right. All right. They sandwich together. Them screws sandwich those two pieces together. All right. Says forward and bottom, rear, or right, bottom, front. So this is the right wing. Okay, yeah, we're upside down. Sorry, I got the wrong wires. Right, bottom, front. Okay. Okay, and this is labeled right, bottom, front. So, you're going to switch this through at an angle. Okay, fish that through there. Okay. See how that goes in there just like this? Okay. See how that fits in there like that? That piece of that puzzle. So go ahead and find that part of the wheel. Okay. Okay. Nope, that's the wrong one. Yeah, this is the too long of one. Okay, so it's the other one. But once you start putting together, it makes sense. So don't fret. Okay, once you start putting together, it'll all start making sense to you. So if you do like a mistake like I just made, now I gotta fish that back out of there again. Okay. The longer ones goes to the back of the wing. Shorter one to the front of the wing. Okay. Put my knife down for one thing. And yeah, like I said, it does make sense. Once you start putting it all together, it's like, oh, okay. That kind of makes sense. All right, like that. Okay, gotta fish that through. Hook on in there. And then that sandwiches in like that. Don't worry about taking it out just yet. Okay, then you're going to take the left or the right bottom rear. This side white goes to this piece. Fish it through there. However way you can do it to get it fished through. Don't lose that screw now. Okay. See how that just kind of, if I can get it to cooperate with me. Fits in there just like that. Okay. We fish it through here. Hook it up with the bottom of the wing. Okay. And that just goes in there like that. So, let me go ahead and remove this screw here. I know that's just going to come falling out, but those wires kind of hold in place, so you don't really have to worry about them backing out. Okay, let's go ahead and turn the plane over. Okay. Now we're going to do the top side. Now, we're on the right wing. Okay, so we need to grab the right top front, right top rear. Okay, so the right front is going to go to the front of the plane, and this is going to the rear of the plane. Okay, both of those sandwiched together and should look like that there. Okay, so this one goes here. So I don't worry about sandwich. I'm going to go to the front of the. That's why I laid this down there the way I did. I want to push that through there, like so. Hopefully the camera's focusing for you. So I got to pay attention to what I'm doing, not so much the camera. Okay, see how that went in there just like that? Pieces of a puzzle. Okay, lay that aside. Okay, pieces of the puzzle here. Okay. See how that just fits in there like that? Okay. That's going to angle right there. Okay. Sorry, I had that on there wrong. See, it's going to fit in there just like that. And it's got to be wrapped around that post. So, you may have to fiddle with it. I mean, that's just part of modeling. Alright, there we go. Nope, I got it backwards. How does that fit in there? That's going to fit in there. Wrong one. I did it again. This goes here. And I got the wrong one. Once again, I did the exact same mistake. Okay. But, nothing, things don't necessarily go according to plan. So let me grab the short one. Okay. But like I say, you discover this as you're doing it, and it's just not monumentally hard. It's just kind of fiddly. It should fit like intuitive. Okay, now that's fitting there just fine. Okay. I grabbed the wrong wire again. Alright. Well, once I get this side figured out, it'll be easier on the other side. But I do know the red end goes towards that. But see, if you make, like I say, you make these mistakes, you'll figure it out. You can't really get it wrong. You really can't get it wrong. If everything fits together like it's supposed to, except I got that in there wrong. There. Should lay in there nice and pretty. Like that. Remember, the longer of the wires go towards the rear of the wing. Back towards this side. Okay? Now, this side here. That should fit right in there. Just nice and snug. Just like that. Okay? And that should fit in there like that. Okay? Now, let's not worry about hooking that up just yet. Let's turn the model back over. Kind of hold this in place with my fingers here. They kind of pressure in there. Okay. Nope, I shouldn't have done that. Now, the reason I say that is because the screws go on the top. No, they don't. They go on the bottom. Okay. I'll get it. I'll get it one of these days. All right. These are self-tapping screws. They're going to go right back to seal the deal. Okay. But if you never put them all like this together, never wires like this together, it's just a learning curve. Support it with the other hand. And that should all sandwich together nice and pretty. Okay, now turn the model back over again. Okay. And now you've got last screws, you've got these red self-tappers. Let's go ahead. That's the problem with ripping these bags open, then the plastic gets in the way. Oh, 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 oh. Ooh, don't want to lose that. All right. Now, this is again the 1.5 millimeter hex drive. You're going to take your two little pieces of the puzzle here and you're going to turn them. They are adjustable. Okay. They have a... Okay, if you want, you just turn them to where they'll fit together, and then they should lay right in there. No problem at all. There you go. And that's that. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the other side and we'll be right back. Same process on the other side. Well, alrighty folks, that's it. Got the other side of the wing done. Now pay attention to page 10. The bottom left of page 10 tells you to make sure that you tighten these wires up. Well, it's very simple to do. Them white tabs on the underside of the wire, okay, you actually can twist them to get them tight. So you want to have just, hear that? Just a slight little bit of, not so much where it warps the wing, but enough where it's nice and taut. Okay? So that's one thing, because that is functional. Okay? Then you got these nice suspension gear. Alright? And I'm sorry, but I just think it's cute. I know I shouldn't call an airplane cute, but I'm sorry, but this thing's cute. All right. Next thing I'm going to be doing is getting her all bound up and get her flight ready. Work out the CG. CG is basically right underneath this front wire here. And let me verify that real quick. We'll go over my flying rates. Yeah, basically behind the leading edge root, 45 plus or minus 3 millimeters from leading edge root, which is going to put it right, according to the picture, right basically underneath this front wire here. So if you want to just put your fingers underneath that wire, I don't have a battery in it yet, but if you put your fingers underneath that front there, that should be just fine. I'm only going to be flying this plane on a 4000 slapped all the way forward, as in all the testers realize. Now you can do a 3200 and lighter. I'm just dropping stuff. You can do a 3200 or a lighter, but 4000 is all I'm going to fly it on. So just to let you know. All right, well there you go. I will not use the loaded file. I like making my own, but I will set the rates and everything up according by the book. And but I like the way I do my things. So, alrighty, thank you so much for watching. We'll get her out in the field and get you a maiden very soon, and that is the GB-R2 1 meter from E-FLITE and Horizon Hobby. Cute little bird. I'm sorry, I shouldn't call it cute, but it is cute. Y'all have a good one. See you at the field. God bless y'all.